Hello, hello, hello. We are back with episode 4 of the Amateur Expert IG show. And today our guest is my friend Jason Price. And I've got to get him added. I don't know why I struggle each week, but I'm getting better. Hey, Jay.
Hey, how's it going?
How are you? Welcome to the Amateur Expert
Thank you.
IG live show.
Cool. Thanks for
Where
having me.
we just anytime. So on this show we discuss career paths, we discuss ideals of success, tips and motivators along the way. And so let's get started.
Absolutely.
So Jason, you currently are the business development sales engineer.
Yes. I know it's a mouthful.
At Datto Incorporated. And can you tell us what that is or what that means and what maybe what a day in your life looks like?
Yeah, so Datto, we are a huge tech company based out of Norwalk, Connecticut, which is really odd because Norwalk, Connecticut, or Connecticut in general, doesn't typically have a lot of like tech companies or successful tech companies. And within that organization, I am a sales engineer for the business development team. So the business development team is a team that pretty much goes out, develops new business, fosters the relationships that we have out there in terms of our partners or our customers. So I'm going to different road shows. We do different industry events where our partners typically would congregate. And, I'm going to do site visits with partners, things of that nature, really just fostering and trying to build that relationship, and which is going to equate to more sales. Within that team, I deal more so with the sales engineering, and that's pretty much bridging the idea of sales and the tech side and bringing it together. So I can have a conversation with a techie person as well as a salesperson in the hopes or in a way to increase sales, essentially.
Okay. So when you were a young lad, what did you aspire to be?
At different stages of my life, it was a little bit different. But when I was young, I was always like really inquisitive. So I wanted to be an inventor. So I was that kid like breaking all my good toys and trying to like create something else. And nothing ever worked. But that was my passion when I was like younger. As I got a little bit older, I wanted to jump over to like marketing and advertising and brand promotion and stuff of that nature.
Okay.
So years later, I guess I'm kind of in that where I'm like marketing and tech merged into one. So I guess I kind of ended up where I thought I was going to end up, if that makes any sense.
So when you were in college, let's say, because I know you personally, I know that you did go to school for marketing or business. What did your ideas of success look like at that point in your life?
Idea of success was like, graduating, getting a job in the city or one of the big markets, working at this big ad firm, making, well over $100,000 a year, having a nice car, having a nice house. Like that was like my ideas of like success, which has changed over the last couple of years. And I think my idea of success is now more so being able to have a good work-life balance, which I think is very important. I've done jobs where I felt like I was a slave to the job, and I was able to get certain things that I wanted, but I didn't have time to really enjoy those things or the people in my life. And so my idea of success is being able to get the things you want without sacrificing your time.
That's really good. And so what brought you to that point, do you think?
I think it's a lot of different. I think some of it is just maturity and realizing, do I truly want these things, or is it something I think I want because I'm supposed to want it, right? You're taught to, like, you're supposed to make a lot of money. You're supposed to have the nice car. You're supposed to this, you're supposed to that. And then as I got older and realized that, those things aren't important, and more so people are important. Your family's important. Your friends, memories, those type of things are going to be more important. Um, and yeah, I think it was just like a time thing, maturity thing. Um,
That's
that got me there.
I agree with you. So I would like to ask you, how did you transition into your position as the business development
Sales engineer.
sales engineer?
Um, so I was at Best Buy for years, right? So after I graduated college, once I realized that all the advertising firms and marketing firms didn't want me, like I thought it was gonna be like big demand, like in a big demand, but I realized quickly that that wasn't necessarily my path. So I graduated and I continued to work at Best Buy for like an additional like 10 years, right? 9 or 10 years. And I moved up the ranks within that. And then I got to a point where I was, managing a group of people, and those people were leaving me to pursue other opportunities. And a lot of the opportunities were from this company, Datto, right? So
Okay.
I said, I can't keep losing my employees without trying to figure out why they're leaving me. And so I ended up interviewing and getting a job over there. So I went from being like in a leadership position to like taking a step back money wise, power or authority wise, and became just like a regular worker. And that was definitely a humbling experience in itself. But once again, it was like that work-life balance. When I was at Best Buy, I was working 10 hours a day some days, I was working, Saturdays and Sundays. And if you asked to take a weekend off, it was like, why would you take a weekend off? This is retail, right? And so those conversations kept happening, and I just was not happy. Christmas came around. I didn't even care like about Christmas. Like the whole Christmas spirit was lost on me. And so, I sacrificed those things in order to have just a better quality of life. And I worked my way up in that within their technical support department. Finally had an opportunity after about 2 years to jump to like their sales department. Realized that I mostly hate sales, especially the type of sales. Like in my position, I was doing sales development. So this is that cold calling, reaching out to
Right.
people. You're getting hung up on. They're telling you just to die. It's just not the weirdest, but like some horrible experiences, right? And so I realized that that wasn't the path I wanted to go down. And so being able to kind of marry the tech aspect that I was able to get under my belt, and then the sales aspect that I was able to get under my belt, jump into this position just made sense for everybody.
Right. Absolutely. So as you've gone along in your career,
Mm-hmm.
what are some tips or motivators that you've used along the way?
I'm nowhere. One of the big things that I realized, and it took some like reflection, is like, I couldn't do this by myself, right? There was always somebody along the way who was like helping me or pushing me or giving me the support I didn't even know I needed.
Okay.
Since I was at Best Buy, right, there was people coming to me say, hey, I think you'll be good in this position, and to put me in that position for me to succeed in that position. When I came to this company now, Datto, same thing. There's people there who saw my potential, and they're the ones who pushed me and helped me to get where I am. Not to say that I didn't do anything myself, because absolutely, like for them to see something in me, I have to be at a certain point already where they're willing to take that investment into me. But just realizing that I was able to align with people who had the ability to push me and give me the trajectory I needed to go.
And you believe them, I think, which is also important, because I think some
Absolutely.
people stand in their own way, and they people advise them or give them some like you said, give them a trajectory of where they could go, and they're like, no, that's
Mm-hmm.
not for me, or I could never. So I'm happy that you were able to
Yeah.
see yourself how
Mm-hmm.
other people saw you, and
And it does
you were
take a
able to
while.
excel.
It does take a while. Like I'm not the type of person who I'm more reserved. Like I usually don't think I'm as good as other people do. But if enough people tell you you're good at something, then you should believe them. You know,
Right.
just like if somebody tells you who they are, you believe them. Um, and you know, like I think that right there has helped me out a lot. Just kind of like
So
understanding myself, learning myself, taking the feedback, not being ashamed of the feedback, not feeling shy or feeling like, you know,
defeated.
nor am I feeling like, yeah, defeated. But, you know, just taking it and being able to maneuver with that.
So what is something that you've learned, um, or you're still in the process of learning that you wish you learned maybe when you were at Best Buy? And I think you sort of touched on it earlier, but maybe it's something else, or you can expand upon it a little bit more.
Um,
So you said the work-life balance, so I think that was really good, but is there anything else?
um, there are a ton of people out there who didn't live or grow up how I lived. Um, like
What do you
first and
mean when
foremost,
you say that?
like being in corporate America, you know, I've learned a lot, right? I've had to deal with like identity issues in terms of like me we're going into an organization which is predominantly white or people who don't look like me, right? And be trying to maneuver how they maneuver because you feel like a sense of pressure to maneuver in that in that manner.
Okay.
You know, from everything, the sports they played, the music they listened to, the jokes they say, the beliefs, like everything was just so foreign to me. Um, and you know, at first, you know, I was like, all right, I have to be better than them. I have to dress better than them. This and the other. Like our job is like really, really casual. You know, so you can go through with like jeans and stuff, but you know, I'll make sure that I still wear like the khakis and I still wear like a button up and things of that nature. And I think that it took me a while to kind of like become my own person because
Mm.
like I just felt so different. I feel awkward in certain conversations and stuff like that. And with that, I've come into my own. But now that oh, I'm sorry, it's my watch. But in my new role, I'm traveling right now, and so my world is opened up even further, um, in terms of like communicating with people, understanding how different people live, um, learning how to do a wine tasting. Like there's things that I'm learning now that I would have never, you know, thought of learning or didn't even know I didn't know back then.
Right. You're being exposed to a lot of new things.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
And so you're learning to um, be open to those things, or like, what would you?
I'm learning to be open to it. I'm learning that the value of just learning how to maneuver in different situations,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is also very, very important. You have to be true to yourself, but you have to also understand like how the world works, how people work, how people may not even identify with the same beliefs you believe you identify with. You know, I'm on the road, and you know, the president isn't my choice of a president, but on the road, you know, I've learned to like work alongside people who share totally different values and views in that regard. Um, it's really and truly been just like a huge learning experience for me in this role.
So I haven't asked anyone else this question, but I'm gonna add it to the mix.
Mm-hmm.
So we've talked about what success looked like for you
Mm-hmm.
when you were younger, what it looks like now, and so like in sort of your in your current role. So 5 years,
Mm-hmm.
do you think your idea of success is going to be different? And if
Uh,
so, why?
Absolutely. I mean, right now, you know, I'm in a relationship, but I don't have kids myself. My girlfriend, she does have a kid, so like it's like a family unit. I mean, at this point, um, but I think once like you know the next step happens in that, my level, my level of success is gonna be different. It's gonna be more so from the ability to provide and to nourish and to you know hopefully have kids that are going to be able to grow up and be cultured and understand how you know the world works, understand be in a better position to conquer the world essentially. My parents did the best they could with me,
Right.
and I appreciate everything they've done for me, but there's a lot of things that they themselves didn't know. With them, they
Right.
were like first generation, immigrants, really. My father came from Jamaica. My mom came from England. They came here, totally different country, made the best out of it, did a great job. But now I have so much more knowledge to pass down. So my measurement of success is going to be the ability to provide, the ability to see my family never need or yearn for anything.
Awesome answer. Thank you. And so we're going to wrap this up. This was great. So the last question that I ask the guests is to share a random fact or tidbit of information, because I pride myself on knowing a little bit about a lot. So what can I say that Jason has taught me
That I have
or
taught
shared
you?
with me?
I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit. I bought my first car selling candy, like literally selling candy, like Airheads and penny candy and all that stuff. And I tell you one thing, my mom found like a whole roll of money in my bedroom, and she thought that like, I was selling like drugs or something. And I had to kind of like break down what I was doing. And she told my grandmother. My grandmother started giving me money to put on to buy more candy, to sell more. My mom made me get an account. It was pretty hilarious, like that I'm selling now and later. So my mom thought I was selling like cocaine or something. This was throughout middle school and into high school. So she found out probably like in like 8th grade or something like that.
That
I
is
was
funny.
doing that. So that was like my little entrepreneurial spirit. And then since that, then I've been doing a bunch of different type of things. I threw parties throughout my college career. And did very, very well with that. I started a podcast a couple of years ago, and we were like just so ahead of our time that if we stuck with it, it would definitely be somewhere. But we were like 6 years too early with it, but it was very, very successful at that time. So a couple little random tidbits about me.
Appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Jay, this was good. You were supposed to be my first guest, but it didn't work out that way. But I hope that we can have you on again in the future. Hopefully we can get a Just for Kicks event off this year. How to throw that in there.
Absolutely.
But yeah, this is great, and I thank you. I know you are not on the East Coast. You're working, so
yeah,
I'm in California.
Yeah, I'm out in California right now. Also, yes, I've been to 44 states now, so 6 more to go. North Dakota, South Dakota, Iowa, New Mexico, Arkansas, and like one other one, which I'm probably forgetting right now. So I'm pretty proud of that as well.
That is good.
Yeah.
Are you collecting something from each state?
You know what? I forgot to do that a couple of years ago, and I didn't want to just start. So I thought about that recently, and I think I'm going to go to Amazon and order like shot glasses for every place I've been. And then from this point on, get shot glasses or something like that. So
very good.
I will be doing that. But really and truly, man, I love what you're doing.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me. I know my schedule is always off, and you've been trying to get me for a while. But hopefully, I was able to give some sort of value.
Absolutely. I think that this was great. Do you want to share your social media handle? This is going to be, the replay will go on YouTube. Okay. So if anyone wants to get in contact with you for networking purposes or for you to drop some more gems, how can they find you?
My Facebook is Jason Young Warren Buffett Price. Once again, that was years ago. Entrepreneurial spirit, somebody I look up to. In terms of Instagram, I think that's the only other social media I have, and that is supercalifragilisticJ, or supercalifragilistic_J. It should have been supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, but they wouldn't let me go that long.
Too many letters.
Too many letters.
I'll put that in the description box so people can find you. I appreciate it. And if you know,
and if anybody's looking for a job, let me know. We give a $3,000 referral bonus to myself. So I got you. Just let me know. Got you covered.
Very good. I'll put all your information in so they can get in contact with you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Jay. Talk to you soon.
Okay.